Hi, welcome to Living as Latinas. I'm Jakira and I have my co host Audi.
Hello.
Last week's episode, we discussed identity and how important it is. On this week, we will be continuing the conversation and discussing how to be authentic and find yourself. Listen and learn as we discuss identity part 2.
Yay. This is actually a really interesting topic.
Yeah, I can't wait to record it.
You're too funny. So, what is authenticity? Here we have a definition from Psychology Today, and they defined it as being a cornerstone of mental health. It's correlated with many aspects of psychological well being, including vitality, self esteem, and coping skills, acting in accordance with one's core self. A trait called self determination is ranked by some experts as one of three basic psychological needs, along with competence and sense of relatedness. That sounds fancy.
Right?
So, what is authenticity in real life, in everyday life? How do we know when we are being authentic to who we are in real life? How do we know that?
I mean, for me, like, I think that um, it took a lot of me learning who I was and who I wasn't in order for me to
Right.
distinguish if I'm being authentic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And um, so, like, watching how I'm reacting or how I am being in the presence of other people,
Mm-hmm.
like, do I feel like I need to change who I am when I'm hanging out with this group of person or this person or group of people or my job? Like, do I need to agree and go with what's going on or what they're saying, even if later on I'm like, why did I say that? That's not true. I don't even think that way. Like, what's going on? And
That
then,
is so funny. That is funny, actually, because it takes a lot of um, observing yourself, right? A lot of, how would I call it? It's like you are your own critic in a way, not in a bad way. It's just what you're saying. Why did I even say that if I don't even think that?
Mhm,
There you go.
mhm.
That's self-awareness. And
Yes,
that is necessary, not only for authenticity, but in general. Why are you talking about that if you don't even believe in it? Is it because everybody else believes in it?
going along with the crowd.
Yeah. And in this day and age, it's really difficult. It is, I think, one of the most difficult things to be authentic when you have social media telling you how you should look like. You have the media, social media, your friends, your coworkers, your parents. Everybody is telling you how you should look like, how you should behave,
Mhm.
how the things that you should believe in, the things that you should not believe in, the things that are true. They're telling you this is true. That's it, right? And
No
this is
choice.
not true,
Yeah,
and no choice.
no choice.
And it is difficult to stand up and show up in the world when you believe in different things and you think differently, because everybody is looking at you and everybody's judging you, and you know that. And I think that that is difficult to take. It is really difficult to stand there and take the judgment and be okay.
I know. I feel like we don't really, a lot of people don't do that, right? A lot of people may tend to go with what other people are saying just because you don't want to be like the odd one out. And you don't want people to, sometimes, like, when we're in groups and stuff like that, like you don't want to put all the attention on you, right? Especially
Right.
if it's bad attention. If you're not going along with what other people are saying, it's considered bad attention because you're not
Hmm.
agreeing. So people are going to look at you like you have like 10 heads, and you don't want that. You rather just
It's
like
uncomfortable. It's really
conform
uncomfortable.
and then be like, okay, I'll deal with this later. So
Or not deal with it at all, because
yeah,
that's easier.
just go home, eat a pint of ice cream, you'll be fine.
Exactly. 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 And so last week when we were talking about identity and things like that, we talked a lot about how, finding out who you really are, it's a journey. It's like a lifelong journey. You don't do that in a week or whatever. And I think that with authenticity, it's also the same way. You don't become authentic in a week. It's practice. You got to do it over and over and over and over. You got to be that weird one in the group over and over and over. You got to have those people looking at you, judging you for what you think or what you believe in over and over, for
Hmm.
you to not feel uncomfortable anymore. For you to be like, yeah, okay, and what was your point again?
Hmm.
And to do that from like your heart and be like, yeah, I'm fine with you thinking whatever you want to think. It's fine. I know it's not true, so whatever.
And I think also too, like if you're noticing that you're just going along with the crowd and having a difficult time standing out or being the weird one in the group, sitting with
The
yourself and be
weird one
like,
in the group.
why is this happening? Why do I feel like I need to do this? What is this serving me? Like, how is this making me feel? What do I need to do to make myself? Because sometimes change, whenever you're going through change, it's never smooth sail, you know? It's always uncomfortable
Never.
at first until things get better,
Hmm.
and so that sometimes you have to be uncomfortable and do those things that you're not seeing as the norm or going along with everybody else to get to a better place. So,
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think that also it's about asking questions. If you're going to believe in something or you're going to carry yourself in a way, I think it's valid to ask why.
mhm,
Why do it this way and not this other way? And it's not about disrespecting other people's beliefs. Everybody is entitled to believe in whatever they want, but I'm also entitled to ask questions. And I think that that's how you get to the point where you feel comfortable with who you are, by asking questions. Why do I do that? Why do I feel the need to go with the flow and not speak up about what I really
exactly.
think? Why?
Yes,
Right?
definitely. I
And,
totally
and those
agree.
questions are not comfortable. They're not, because they're putting you in the position where you have to face the fact that you're not authentic
You
and
never
that
want
you
to have
might
that.
be a follower.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody wants that. Everybody wants to be the leader. But newsflash, we're usually not the leader, okay? And it's fine. It's okay. But when you ask yourself the question, but why? Why do I do that? That's when you become the leader, because then you understand who you are, why you do the things you do, and if there is room to change. You don't have to change. You can continue to follow whatever, if that makes you comfortable and that's what you want to do. But if you do want to change, that gives you the opportunity to do so, because you're asking the question, why do I do that? Why do I keep doing that?
And also true, like if you're doing this in a setting where it's like a group setting and you start to speak up for yourself, there's going to be other people that are there that are going to see what you're doing and
Hmm.
find the courage to themselves to do the same. So you're going to be
Yes.
able to change other people. And you never know, like people are probably more going to agree with you than they do with whatever else is being said. So
Yes.
those
And that
changes
is
can be
so
made.
true. That is so true, Jaqueta. And that's actually how I have been training myself in doing that. Because I keep telling myself, if I'm thinking this, if I'm feeling this, chances are a few other people are too.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
let me be the person who says something about it
Yeah.
instead of just believing that I'm weird. I'm not weird. I might see I have a different perspective, but that's okay. And if you can explain your perspective, I can too. But we got to get to the point where we feel comfortable doing that. And that is a hard work.
Hmm. So having
It's
that
not
love
as
for
easy as
yourself.
just saying that. No, because it feels really uncomfortable. You feel like, I don't know, you're going to die. I don't know. It feels like, oh my God, I don't want people to think that I think differently. But why? Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah. And I think it goes back to, so like last week I was reading the story Ugly Duckling to my kids. I had
Hmm.
purchased that book, and I was reading it, and I was thinking about this, like the whole time in the story he's different. Everybody's making fun of them. Nobody understands them. They're feeling like they don't fit in because they don't know them who they are really, right?
Hmm.
Truly,
Hmm.
that person or the ugly duckling was a swan, a beautiful swan, and
Yes.
was different. And it wasn't a bad different, it was a good different. They were different than their siblings and everybody else, but other people couldn't understand that. Once they were able to see who they really were and be comfortable, then everybody else was like, wow, you're so beautiful, like, oh my god, that's who you really are, like, I want to be your friend now, let's hang out. And and I think that is the same, it's the same principle. Sometimes when we're in the phases of learning who we are and figuring all this yuckiness stuff out, people
Hmm.
are not going to understand us. We may look confused. We may look like, oh, why is that person one week saying one thing and then the next week they're saying something else? Like, what's wrong with them? It's like we're finding out who we are. And, this is ugly work. So,
It is. It is ugly work. And there's nothing wrong with believing one thing and changing it. I think that I really, the way I see it is if you have believed the same thing throughout your whole life, there's actually something wrong with you. Because there's no such thing as the truest truth. That doesn't exist. Truths are based on who are believing them, right? So
mhm,
if you believe the same thing throughout your whole life, you're not doing your homework. You're just going with the flow. And that is exactly the opposite of authenticity. You
mhm,
don't go with the flow. You find
mhm,
out why you're uncomfortable. You find out why, when you believe these things, it makes you sad. It makes you less than. Your homework is to find out what makes you whole and happy and flowy in a different way. And that's difficult homework. That is difficult homework.
yeah. And I think like once you start going through this process and you figure out, this is who I feel like I am, this is what I want to become, this is who I feel like, resonates with me, you know, it's so hard sometimes to stick to that, I think.
Yeah.
Um, because when you're trying to figure out trying on all these different hats of things that make who we are inside,
Hmm.
sometimes, like, if and I think of the analogy, the grass is always greener on the other side sometimes, where you see other things in other people and you're like, well, let me try that on, does that fit with me?
Hmm.
And it's like,
Hmm.
like you said, it's always a process, so we have to kind of be compassionate and know that we're gonna sometimes take two steps back before we take one step forward. But
Yes,
you have to be speaking your truth, you need to be able to do that as well. So
definitely. And I think that the key thing you said it is compassion. You have to have compassion for yourself. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to have all the answers. Your answers don't even have to be true. Let's face it, it doesn't matter. You are learning, you're growing as a human. You're learning from other people, not only what to do, but you're also learning what not to do. You're learning what to believe in, but you're also learning what to never believe in, right? But that's, and everyone has a different, it's like the same journey, but you go about it in different ways.
Hmm.
And everybody's perfect. Everybody's doing just fine.
How they're supposed to be. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. But I think that compassion, we got to remember that it doesn't matter if Shakira is going at it that way. It's fine for her, but it might not be for me. And I might try 100 different things and never find what it is that's gonna work. And it's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm less than or more complicated or stupid or whatever it is. It's not that I'm not understanding, it's that it's taking longer because
Yes.
I might have to work on this other thing that she doesn't have to work on because she never went through it, right?
Hmm.
And I think that the uniqueness that everyone has as a human, and at the same time the sameness, if that's a word, it's amazing. We are like the same. We have the same things, but we're so unique. Everybody is like a different, unique human.
Hmm.
It doesn't
Hmm.
matter if you're twins or whatever it is. So you got to go at it your own way.
Yeah. And I think that when you're going at it your own way and you're doing these things, you just have to make sure that you're making these decisions consciously. Like that you're being true to yourself and that you're not doing things to hurt other people or
Mhm.
to hurt yourself. You know, you want to make sure that if you feel like being authentic to you is not hanging out with certain people in your life because they don't flow with you, then that's fine. But don't do it in a rude way. Don't make them feel less than just because,
Mhm.
you know, like I've seen that happen a lot. It's like, oh, you're not my vibe. I can't hang out with you. It's like,
Well,
why are
Jakira,
you
you're not
doing
on my
that?
level.
Right? That's so rude. Like,
I
how do you
know.
feel? Like, just
I
saying
know.
that to somebody. And I've seen people say that or like made
I
posts
know.
and stuff like that. And like, it just breaks my heart because, like, you don't have to put other people down to make yourself look better. And that's not really being
Where's the
authentic.
compassion?
Yes.
Where's the compassion that we should have for one another? Everybody is battling something, and we don't need to know what it is. But we have to hold that compassion to try to understand why is that person doing what they're doing,
Right.
and why are they doing it the way that they're doing it. I don't need to understand that. All I need to know is that everybody's doing the best they can with what they have,
Yeah.
which is something else that is really difficult to put into perspective. Everybody's doing the best they can do with with what they have and the things that they have experienced, right? And like I was saying earlier, you can be twins, but it doesn't mean that you have experienced life the same way. So you're going to go at it from your perspective, from how you see life and how you experience it. And so authenticity is not something that we can define, like we can make a list of, because it means different things for different people.
Yeah.
And people are going to go at it in a different way.
Hmm. Definitely. I totally agree with that. I mean, we're not just think about like the different lifestyles, the different like all the things that make us who we are uniquely, how we're brought up, our parents, our social groups, all those things that change who we are. Um, and those are things that we can't control, a lot of that.
No,
But it
no,
influences us. So
big time. And we can't change it. And I don't think it's about changing it. It's just about finding a way to incorporate everything we are and become a whole person. Because I think that we go through life, generally we go through life in pieces, you know. like that example I was using last week about me, like in my funeral, people talking about who I was in different ways. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to go through life um, like dismantling myself all the time, like becoming this different pieces. I want to be a whole person who I really am, and then present that to you and let you do whatever you will with it.
Yeah.
And that's where the control needs to go. I can't control how you want, like how you will react to me. I can't do that. All I can do is be who I am, as true as possible,
Mm-hmm.
and then you take it from there.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. Yeah. And I think that some of the things, that have been helpful for me on this journey of figuring out who I am, my identity, how to be authentic, definitely like writing my thoughts and just exploring, what makes me different than other people, what makes me strive to be better than not better than other people, but better for myself. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Um, and just kind of learning how to sit with those like uncomfortable feelings that I may have sometimes, whether
Which
it's
is really difficult.
anxiety or anger. Like, why am I angry right now? Like, nobody did anything to me. Why is this happening again? Like having all those things and learning kind of to deal with them in a healthy way um,
Hmm.
has been really, really helpful. So,
That is writing, I think, is the best therapy, because when you're writing, you know that no one will read this, so you don't have those walls because you're with yourself, right? So usually the thing that you write is usually the truth, usually comes from your heart, from your
hmm
soul,
hmm
because nobody else is going to read it. So you don't have to pretend to be anything
hmm
because you're with yourself. But some people, though, just to be fair, some people have difficulties being with themselves because they don't like who they are in true essence. They don't like it. And I think that not liking it, it's not about who you are, it's about what other people might think, my the things that they put in you. Because think about it, growing up, you can't, if you're a girl, you shouldn't like basketball. You shouldn't like baggy pants because you're a girl. You shouldn't like having more guy friends than girlfriends because you're a girl. Like, what are you doing hanging out with like a bunch of guys? What are you trying to do?
mm
And it looks really bad in our culture anyway. And so if that's what you like, if that's who you are, there you go. You already have a problem with yourself because now you have to pretend that you like dresses when you don't. You have to find yourself girlfriends to, and talk about things that you're not interested. You want to be talking about basketball with your guy friends. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's really nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
so
that's
when
so
we
true.
grow up and we are trying to define who we are, we got to fight with those things that were, ingrained in our brain since we are little. We can't forget about those because those things are the things that built who you are right now.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to go back and remember those messages, how they were sent to us, the little comments, the little things that made you stay in your room when you were a teenager because you didn't want to deal with your family because they already had something to say about your hair or the color of your hair and why you're walking that way. And when you sit down, why your legs are open. Like, you gotta close your legs. You're a little señorita. All of those little comments that people, usually adults, forget how annoying they are, because we do forget. And I'll count myself in that list. I find myself making comments sometimes, and I'm like, what? I'll take it back, because that was just stupid.
Be you, be you.
I would never do that again. But we do that. We do it all the time.
Mm.
And we don't notice, but we are impacting that kid's life and that kid's sense of who they are by making those comments.
Yeah. And we carry all that stuff with us. So,
Forever.
well, you could change. I mean, I feel like those are the things that you have to fight hard against to kind of
Yes.
change in who you are and kind of
Hmm.
teach your brain, like, no, this is not me. I am this, manifesting all those things that you are, not that you want to be, that you already are, you
You
know?
already are. You're whole. You just have to decide that you are and act like it,
Mm-hmm.
which is the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
Acting like it is the hard part.
It's like fake it till you make it. Fake it till you.
Fake it every day. And then one day you're going to wake up and you won't have to fake it anymore.
Exactly. Your
It's
brain's
going
gonna
to
be
come
like,
naturally.
yeah, exactly. And I think, like it's always good to talk to other people who are going through similar journeys as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because when you're stuck, when you feel down, when you're just like, why does it keep happening? And didn't I learn from the last time? Talking to people who you can talk are going to offer you support and have gone through similar stuff and are going through similar things. You need
Hmm.
that connection with other people to better yourself. You can't do this kind of work alone. It's
I
really
agree
hard.
with that. I think that is the one thing that I only like about social media. The fact that you can be the weirdest person and you can go in there and find 100 other weirders just like you, right? And that is amazing, because I think that before, like when you and I were 11, 12, we didn't have that the way that it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would measure your weirdness based on the people around you, which is not fair, because there's usually one crazy in the family, right? And if it's you, then that's it, right? But now you don't have to measure it within your own family and your friends. You go online and you find yourself, the other 100,000 people that think the same thing that you think, that believe in the same thing, that see life in the same way that you do. And that
That's so true.
helps to fake it until you make it. Because once you follow these people and you're into, your thing, you find out that it gets easier for you to talk about those same things with your family, for example, and your friends, because you feel empowered.
Mm-hmm.
Because if all of these other people think the same thing that I think, chances are I'm not that wrong. Or we are all suffering from the same mental health problem. Either or, right? And it doesn't matter which one is true. It feels good,
Right.
because I'm not crazy by myself. Now I have, 100 other 1,000 people who are suffering the same mental health problem.
That's so true.
Because this can be, you can feel lonely in this process
And
of
you th-
becoming who you are.
and you
It
think
is.
about it. There's so many people in this world, right? So many people, and like I feel like I've read something that we have like the most people on earth right now than we've ever had,
Yes.
ever, right? And to think that whatever you're going through, you think that you're the only one going through it is insane. Just that thought,
It's
because
not mathematically possible.
right.
It's not.
Definitely not.
It's not possible.
Mm-mm.
But that's how we feel because of the people that we're around, right? Because they make us feel. And I don't want to say this, I definitely don't mean that it's their fault. that we feel the way we feel. It's not their fault. It's just how it is. You feel crazy, especially, and I'll give an example. I started meditating last year with the lockdowns. And for the first few months, I felt a little bit crazy. I was experiencing things that I have never experienced before in my life. And I didn't really have anybody to talk to about those things except my best friend, which by then it was like, okay, we had already decided you and I are suffering from the same mental health problem and we are doomed because I don't know what's happening. Everything is changing. And then
Yeah.
we would have this, 3 hour long conversations about all these things and about, all the different things that we thought we believed in. And now we're like questioning. And it felt good because I wasn't alone. But it also felt like, I wonder what's happening. Like, is this good? Like, how do we find out before
Hmm.
it gets worse? And obviously, it's not bad. It's not good. It's nothing is bad or good. It is what it is. If it makes you happy, if it makes you a better person, go ahead. And that was my conclusion. I was like, yeah, I'll keep going this way because I'm feeling like myself as a
Hmm.
whole. And that was amazing.
Yeah,
And
that's
then, of
so true.
course, I went online and I found, other people with the same mental health problem so I could feel better.
Ah, yeah. And I just imagine all the other people that did similar things, that went through the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's always good. Find your people.
Find your tribe
Hmm.
and go with it.
It's
I
so
think
true.
that that's one of the keys to authenticity. Find people like you and then go with it.
Hmm. Find your purpose, find people like you, find, you know, people with similar interests. Don't feel
Hmm.
like you're the only one. Don't be like thinking that, this, whatever it is that you're experiencing or you feel like, or whatever thoughts you're having, that they're too strange that you can't talk to other people about them, or that, you
They're
know,
too strange.
yes, you have these thoughts and you're like, oh my God, I'm not going to tell anybody because they're going to think I'm crazy. It's like, well, if you tell the right
Yeah.
person, it's not going to be
They might tell
strange.
you, oh, I'm having the same mental health problem. That makes two of us. No, but no, seriously. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that, and then once you do all of that and you feel comfortable, show up in the world. Go show up and speak up and you know, tell people what you think and speak about your truth because that is valid. It doesn't matter if people agree with it. It is your truth, and that's all it matters.
Hmm. Definitely. All right. Well, did you want to do the call for action?
Okay, everyone. So please subscribe to our YouTube page. It's Living as Latinas. We're also on Instagram as Living as Latinas. You can email us at livingaslatinas@gmail.com with any topics, anything that you would like us to discuss. And enjoy your week. And remember to always be kind to others. Thank you.